Hello and welcome to Boomerang Beyond Wellness and the Have It Your Way workout series. I'm Angelafischetti. So today's deep dive is into an exercise called the plank pull through, also known as the plank drag through. Now the accessories we'll be using today will be a sticky yoga mat. I'm also sitting on something else, and that is what I will be using it for, though, will be as a knee pad. It happens to double up as an elbow cushion. Also a tennis ball. Now, why a tennis ball? No specific reason other than it's something that I can work with my hands and will help contribute to form. It will add nothing for resistance, but for those of you who are not quite ready to grab and work with weights, then you can work with some type of ball, or if you have something else that's small that you want to use, as long as it doesn't add additional weight. Then I will also be working with an 8-pound dumbbell and then a 10-pound kettlebell. Now, I'm going to move right into the medical disclaimers and precautionary measures, and I'm going to begin here with a blanket statement. If you have any chronic health condition at all, I want you please to not immediately participate with the videos. Preview them before participating, and then look for what you can do. However, if you're unsure, then I would invite the medical healthcare practitioner who knows your body best to preview the video as well to help you make an informed decision. Now, specific to this video, you want to be careful if you have a latex allergy. Both the workout mat and the knee pad are made out of latex, so you do want to look for non-latex or latex-free. Also, if you're medicated or not for hypertension, have vertigo or GERD, please avoid this position of your neck. Right, that simple act of dropping the head down, that's flexion of the cervical spine. You folks want to keep that head up neutral. Now, I'm going to say across the board for this one, unless you are really well versed at doing planks, if you have carpal tunnel syndrome, being in wrist extension, it doesn't really matter where the arm is, right, in the forearm. I'm looking at the wrist. Being in a wrist extension is considered contraindicated for carpal tunnel syndrome. Now, I have a lot of plank videos. I've been working on gathering more and more plank videos for our platform. So for some of you, you might be acquainted with using the soft fist so you can keep your wrist straight. If you're really well versed at that, then you might want to try this. But otherwise, I would avoid this particular video and just move on to plenty of others that we have. We have well over 100 at this point. Now, if you have vestibular challenges, well, that could be an issue too, because we are going to be pulling and only working with one arm down at a time. So you folks might want to avoid this particular plank and maybe try another one on the platform. Also, if you have golfer's or tennis elbow, that would be medial epicondylitis or lateral epicondylitis. You want to find out if any bicep or tricep work is appropriate for you. I cannot offer you a modification because the symptoms are quite unique to each individual. And then another one that I can think of offhand would be if you have arthritic hands. This may not be the best choice either. Now, the muscles that are involved here, folks, are many. There's a lot here that's activated because this is a compound movement, meaning we're going to be working multiple large muscles and multiple joints simultaneously. Now, the first thing that we think of here is the core. Now, everybody thinks about just the abdominal muscles. Well, this would be true. We have the rectus abdominis working. Now, this one is, you know, as when you do your crunches, which I hope we're getting you fading away from the older that we get, folks. However, for some of you who are still doing the crunches, it is the flexion of the spine for rectus abdominis. Then we have the transverse abdominis that I do talk about a lot on this platform. The simple act of pulling your belly button in will help you engage the transverse abdominis, which does act as our internal girdle, kind of like an internal corset. Plus we have the internal and external oblique muscles kind of crisscross here at the waist, and they're partially responsible for helping us turn and twist the torso. Then we have the deltoid muscles involved. We have the biceps involved, those pesky triceps, forearm wrist muscles. We have the pectoral muscles of the chest, the big swimmer's muscle called the latissimus dorsi. We also have the erector spinae muscles, and yes, they help keep our spine erect. The gluteals, which I'm sitting on right now, and we also have the hip abductor muscles involved here. Hip abductors. So we refer to them as the outer thighs, but really they're part of your gluteal, folks. Now, what are the activities of daily living that are benefited? Holy cow, I have a really long list here for you because that's how excited I am about teaching you this particular approach. So we have bending, lifting, carrying, walking, getting up and down from your chair, and I've even talked about the commode too, being able to get off of that. We have also reaching, pushing, pulling, and it also helps with hip and core stability. And also when you're in bed, when you go from side lying to sitting, and posture, coordination. So this is really a wonderful exercise for us. Now, a couple of gentle reminders. Always feel free to stop and rest whenever you need to when you're working out on your own. Now, this is not a workout, but it is a good tip. Keep yourselves properly hydrated with water. Unless you've been medically advised not to drink a lot of water, maybe you have kidney or bladder issues, please follow this advice. And also on the channel, you want to look for the warm-up/cool down video. You can interchange the movements. It is important for those of us 55 years and above to warm up for a full 10 minutes prior to any workout. Now, I want to invite you to go to the post tab on the channel, and here you will find a link to the RPE chart, rating of perceived exertion, and this is a 0 through 10 subjective scale that really helps us determine our sense of effort as we're working out. And it could be an excellent tool for those of you who don't know how to take your heart rate, your training heart rate, I should say, and maybe for those of you who have a pacemaker, or maybe you're taking certain medications like beta blockers. You folks might want to show the chart to your medical doctors and find out what the RPE should be specific to you. But in general, I do advise that you work out at an RPE between 3 and 6 on the chart. And also, while in the post tab, you want to look for reference image, reference screenshots, and either a reference article or reference study. I supply them for every Have It Your Way workout part of the series. Now, what are we going to do here today with this plank pull through, the drag through? Well, we're going to do one set. Now, typically a set is a group of 8 to 15 repetitions. And I'm telling you, going forward in the future, I'm going to start recommending more like 8 through 12 for real strength training, folks. But for today, we're going to break it down into 15 reps. And the first approach will be with the tennis ball or whatever lightweight object that you have. And I will also be doing that quadruped style on all fours, because maybe you're not fully ready yet to do a full plank. And then we go to the plank position, and I will be using one 8-pound weight and then one 10-pound kettlebell. So we're going to get going here. I'm going to swing around, and I am going to face you directly. Now, how I like to line up here is wrists, elbows, and shoulders in the same line as each other. You don't want to collapse into the floor. You want to push the ground away. Focus your gaze down and out in front of you instead of sagging the head. We want the eyes of the elbows facing straight forward, belly button up and in, and your fingers, well, kind of fanned out like you would if you know yoga, like a downward facing dog position. And then I'm just going to take the ball, lift it, and set it over to the side and continue like this. And here's just a simple demonstration of dragging something over if you need to drag. Keep the belly button in so that you protect your back. We don't want to sag down. You don't want to drop down like a saggy back cow, folks. We take it over and over. One more to each side. So I demonstrated both dragging and lifting for you, okay? So now I'm going to set that off to the side. Hope it doesn't roll around. And now I'm going to set my 8-pound dumbbell. When I set the item that I'm going to be pulling, I like to have it in the same line as my wrist joint. Now I'm going to pop up to a wide-legged plank, folks, because what we don't want to do is poke the butt up into a downward-facing dog as we do this. So I'm going to grab it, lift and set, and I really set myself each time, pushing down into that hand that's on the floor and pushing down equally into the opposite foot. So I try not to lift the butt. There might be a slight elevation, but I'm trying to avoid poking all the way up. And pull it over. Again, you could drag your weight if you want to. I'm not. I want to go for that lift. And one more, and we landed. Great. Now let me show you something here that you can do for yourself in between. So the wrists get a lot of work. So what you want to do here is just let the hand dangle. Now notice my wrist is lower than my shoulder. It's not up here. It's down here. And then I just take my opposite hand and I'm gently pushing both into each other. You don't want to hike your shoulder up. And please, I am not finger pulling, all right? It's not about really overdoing the tendons. And then when you're fully working out on your own, you want to take about 20 to 30 seconds to take your stretches. But this is a really nice way to release this, folks, okay? Now, let's go on over to the kettlebell. Now, let me show you something here. For those of you who want to drag it, you just lower the kettlebell down and then you drag that along the floor. But for those of you who want to lift it, well, like so, right? Now, let me make sure it's in a position that I like. And, all right, here we go. I'm going to pop up, wide-legged plank, and lift and set. And lift and set. Looking down and out. I like to check myself occasionally to make sure I'm not popping the butt up. And all the breath is in and out through the nose. I'm talking a lot, so obviously I'm breathing and exhaling and all that good stuff. And as you get more and more advanced at this, you can pull that puppy over wider, right? And lower down. Another thing you can do to release the hands and wrists is just simply shake them out. Give them a good shake. And that's what we have for you today, folks, here at Boomerang Beyond Wellness. And folks, please, if you find any value with my content, then I would really, really appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel, share the videos, also give it a kind comment, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. So until next time, eat your greens, eat your beans, drink your water, and thanks so much.